Hello everybody, hopefully you can hear me okay. Got air conditioning in the background. This is my Lulu Final Fantasy X cosplay. This is what I've pretty much completed on my own. I followed a tutorial on a girl called Jonatsu on cosplay.com. I followed a lot of her recommendations and tips that she had. So check her out for what to do. I hope she doesn't mind that I'm posting this. I just figured it would help out the people who've had questions on how to go about the Lulu cosplay and what to do with it. A lot of people don't really know what to do and struggle with it, as did I when I first started this. It's very expensive. It's not a cheap costume by any means. Just be aware that you're going to spend quite a bit of money on this. Just take your time with it, buy it in small amounts. It's taken me about a year. It's a very, very long process. But this is the belt skirt, and this is the this is pretty much the big part of the costume that did cost quite a bit. You might be thinking, oh my god, a lot of belts, but in all reality, there's probably only about 50 belts. Probably less than that. I only have these on the front. The back of the skirt there's nothing there. It's just the canvas. I used canvas as a base layer, made an A-line skirt. It's smaller at your waist, larger down at your ankles. I made that first, and then fed through this buckram covered steel boning, which I will post to the website where you can get that, and all of the boning I used for this. Great website. What I did was just two pieces, the length of the bottom of this skirt here, cut out two of them, and then wrap them with electrical tape, feed it through, sew it shut. I mean, I had to do mine later because I was dumb. And but it's worked. It's held its shape. It's never flattened out. I haven't had any problems with it. It's worked wonderfully. As far as the top goes, how I hold this all up, it's actually one belt. I know that sounds ridiculous considering it's a skirt of belts being held up by a belt. This looks like it's going to break off any time, but it's not. It's a really, really, really thick belt, and that was the reason why I used it. But all of this is sewn down. They're all sewn down with yarn. I do have some fabric glue in there, but I did a majority with it with yarn. That way I felt it would hold a little better. I've had a few spots where I used fabric glue and it just did not hold like I wanted it to. Some people swear by it. I wouldn't use it with the belts personally. I would stick with using string. I use it ending up feeding through the string right through in here. I feed it through right behind the buckle here, so that way you don't really see it, but it holds the belt down. That's one tip to use. Pretty much went through here and did that in a lot of spots to kind of fix it. And over here is the skirt dress part. This would be the back, but this is the front. I've pretty much posted pictures online of this, so you can kind of, I have them on my Facebook, and I've got them on my DeviantArt as well. But I did that all myself. No real help anywhere from anything. That's all hand painted. This is the back of it. Still, obviously, I have to do just a tad bit of work. This is my keyhole. It doesn't look the greatest. You don't really see too much of it. I was kind of hoping you'd at least see some of this when I put everything together, but whatever. It does what it's supposed to. These are grommets. I think they're the 7/16 inch or whatever. I got the bigger ones just to be safe. Canvas underneath this as well. So yeah, again, a lot of money. This is actually the back of microsuede, this fabric here. I would have used gray. I know Lulu's is technically gray, but I could not, for the life of me, find a fabric I was happy with. So anyway, just use the back of microsuede pretty much for this whole thing and put that right up on top of the canvas. And then I have this keyhole thing cut out. I'm just using hem tape around here to be able to pretty much give it a nice clean edge. Otherwise I would have, you would have seen where it would have frayed, and I don't know, it just wouldn't look nice. Still have to sew that on, obviously, as you can tell. I've still got to work. But I just used the gross grain or whatever ribbon, the stuff that's got kind of the ribbing in it. It's a real rough ribbon. That way it doesn't slip or slide. I use this same width on my, I think this is like 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch or whatever. I think it's probably 1/4 inch, whatever. I use the same width on the corset, which I'll show you later. And I pretty much just, I weave it. I'll show you on the corset how I've got it woven. It's pretty much the same way I do it there. And then this is the detailing for the bottom. A lot of you are probably like, well, I've had a few people ask why Lulu stuff is colored, because technically in the game it doesn't look like it's colored, but it is. It's a very... Lulu's pattern is definitely colored, but it's probably not as vibrant as this. I tried to stick with just 4 colors. Just a pink, kind of an orange mixed with a little bit of a pink here. I think this was like a pink and a green or whatever. I just kind of... I mixed a few colors together just to make some things pop. I kind of created a gold color for the rings here. I made this more of an olive green and not just this bold green that would just stick out. I tried to tone it down so that it would pop, but it wouldn't be so overwhelming. My camera's probably making some of this more vibrant than it really is. But I think it looks really gorgeous, and it really draws your attention more than just drawing the detail. I've seen a lot of people put the detail on, and it looks nice, but for me personally, I liked having the color. Lulu is just so literally black and white, and I think having the color there would make it seem a little bit more... It would give it something. It was just my touch, I guess. But you can do what you want with it, and but this is how I did it. It was just a regular poster board. I cut out basically a stencil, as I call it. It's all hand drawn. I have a few images that I used, but I only did half because I'm not drawing out the whole design. It's all mirror image, if you can tell. If you've ever seen Lulu stuff, it's all mirror image. All of these designs are. There's pretty much nothing that's not repeating. So, yeah, I used a quilter's pencil and just traced around this and then drew in the details, and it took me a good couple months to really get them all completely done. I think I still have a couple little minor things to add, but that aside, it really turned out beautifully, I think. Definitely a lot of work went into this. I know some of it doesn't look extremely perfect, but this is really my only my second cosplay of any sort, so I still have my work cut out for me for this part, for this costume. But here are the sleeves. Still, there's a couple things I'm missing. They're little star things or whatever. I gotta use those, but everything is, this again is the back of the microsuede with canvas inside here. I serged everything to give it a nice edge. I also decided that since you're basically putting on all this detail and you're cutting everything, I figured it would be good to end like this with the ribbons, because that way I'm not cutting into that seam, I'm not losing that edge here. I don't want to cut into what I sewed together. I would rather have it come down and stop. And now I will go to the corset. This is all completely steel boned. I did the 3-layer method, or the sandwich method, or whatever you want to call it. This is actually the front of the microsuede, so it has a different texture. It has the right texture, what it should have. But I did 2 pieces of boning per channel. I never knew how to make a corset. I know a couple of these spots are a little off. It may not look perfect. It was definitely a lot of work went into this, and a lot of thought. I noticed this now. This is a little squiggly, but I spent quite a bit of time with this. It really takes a long time. I had to draft the pattern myself. Again, Jonetsu from cosplay.com has the tutorial for how she did the drafting of the pattern. It took me a good couple days. And then as far as just lacing this goes, what you do is you crisscross on top, and then when you come through underneath, you also crisscross underneath before you feed it through to the other holes. At least that's what I did. And from what I had seen, you know, you leave a couple here, so when you're putting it on, well, you're gonna have to have obviously somebody else tie it for you. You pull like this, and it actually pulls it in tighter at your waist, which it did help. And last but not least, the fur piece. This was again just Hancock's. I ended up just finding this, and I was just like, I was so having a hell of a time finding anything long for, you know, what I wanted. It was just super difficult. What I did was I took two pieces, I made it smaller at one end, larger at the other, came all the way around, and, you know, and I made it, I think, probably a little around 60 inches or less. But it's smaller here, and it slowly gets larger about there, and then it starts to come back down and get smaller. I overlapped them, sewed them together, and then underneath what I did was I started putting snaps. As you can tell, this is the other side of the snap here, and then all I have to do is come down to the snap that I've sewn here and snap it in, and it won't go anywhere. I'm not going to do it right now, but I put a snap in here, a snap in here, so this way it would hold it up by my boobs and I wouldn't have to worry about it flying away or, you know, moving away or whatever. And I also did the same for the back. I put them on the inside so that way I could just snap it in. And for the sleeves, I put one here, and one here, so it'd be like the out, like if this were, since this goes on my left arm, it's going to sit here, so it'll be right there, and then one back here. Just so you guys have an idea of how I did this. Some of this stuff is a lot different than what Janatsu did, but so some of it was my own take on it, and I had to tweak some of the things, you know, and a lot of it's just an experience. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me or message me for that matter. If you have any questions on how I did it, and if you need anything, any tips or hints, but this is definitely by far the thing that I see people screwing up the most. And I mean, mine's nowhere near what Lulu's actually looks like, but I could go on a rant for hours about how many I've seen where they use 5 belts and it just crisscrosses in the front. Good lord. But good luck, you guys.